Hey everyone, welcome to a quick note. Today, we're diving into the complex history of the Korean Peninsula's division, exploring the events that led to the stark differences between North and South Korea. Don't forget to hit that like button if you find this information intriguing, and of course, subscribe for more quick notes on fascinating topics. So, for more than 70 years now, North and South Korea have been separated. This happened because during the Cold War, the Korean Peninsula got caught up in a big disagreement between two powerful countries, the Soviet Union and the United States. It was unexpected, and since then, the two parts of Korea have been living separate lives. A unified Korea. So, way back before Korea got split into North and South, it was one united country ruled by different dynasties for centuries. But then, after the Russo-Japanese War in 1905, Japan took over and officially made Korea part of its territory 5 years later. Korea wasn't too happy about this and endured 35 years of being under Japanese control. The turning point came after World War II when the decision was made by the Soviet Union and the United States to split Korea into two parts, even though the Koreans themselves weren't really part of that decision-making. This event marked the beginning of the division that we still see today. According to Michael Robinson, a professor who knows a lot about Korea, this split was kind of a big deal and happened without much input from the Korean people. Why was Korea divided? So, in August 1945, the two supposed allies, the Soviet Union and the United States, kind of took charge of the Korean Peninsula. They divided it into two parts. Up north, above the 38th parallel line, the Soviet Army and its friends set up a communist government. Meanwhile, down south, below that line, the United States directly supported the establishment of a military government. This split-up happened over the next 3 years from 1945 to 1948. Back then, the policies of the Soviet Union were liked by a lot of the working class and farming folks in the north. On the flip side, many middle-class Koreans didn't really fancy that scene and headed south of the 38th parallel, which is where most of the Korean population is now. In the south, the government backed by the US had a clear preference for anti-communist and right-leaning folks, as pointed out by Robinson. The big plan was for the Soviet Union and the United States to step back and let the Koreans sort things out on their own, but then the Cold War got in the way. According to Robinson, every attempt to find common ground or reunite the peninsula was blocked because both the Soviet Union and the United States didn't want to give in to each other. In 1948, the United States proposed a vote sponsored by the United Nations, where all Koreans could have a say in deciding the future of the peninsula. The North decided not to take part, so the South went ahead and formed its own government in Seoul. This government, led by the staunchly anti-communist Syngman Rhee, was a response to the situation. In return, the North also took action by appointing Kim Il-sung, a former communist guerrilla, as the first premier of the Democratic People's Republic of Korea in the capital city of Pyongyang. Korean War. The Korean War, which lasted from 1950 to 1953 and resulted in the deaths of at least 2.5 million people, didn't really solve the question of which government was the true Korea. Instead, it solidified the United States as a lasting enemy for North Korea. The US military bombed villages, towns, and cities in the northern part of the peninsula during the war. According to Robinson, they pretty much flattened the entire country, destroying every city in the process. When the war finally ended in 1953 with an armistice, the peninsula remained divided much like it was before, and a demilitarized zone was set up along the 38th parallel. Unlike the situation with East and West Germany during the Cold War, where there was some movement across the border, the DMZ between North and South Korea has been almost entirely sealed off since 1953. Robinson describes it as a hermetically sealed border. This lack of movement across the border has played a significant role in shaping the vastly different paths that North and South Korea have taken, maintaining the ongoing division between the two nations. Hermit Kingdom. Because of their strong connections with the West and a constant US military presence, South Korea managed to build a strong economy. In recent decades, they've also been making progress towards becoming a fully democratic nation. On the flip side, North Korea stayed pretty isolated, often referred to as a hermit kingdom. This isolation became more pronounced after the collapse of the Soviet bloc in the early 1990s. Economically, North Korea lagged behind, and it became more like a controlled police state, ruled by a single family for 3 generations. North Korea's determined pursuit of a nuclear program has significantly increased tensions with South Korea and its allies, especially the United States. Korea today. Even with diplomatic efforts led by South Korea's current president, Moon Jae-in, the clear distinctions between North and South Korea became evident in the lead-up to the 2018 Winter Olympic Games. While South Korea was busy hosting athletes from all over the world for the Winter Games, North Korea, under Kim Jong-un's regime, held a military parade in Pyongyang's historic Kim Il-sung Square. CNN reported that during the parade, Kim Jong-un watched from a balcony as 4 of the country's missiles, the Hwasong-15, were displayed. He then spoke about the perceived evils of imperialism. The parade had a significant meaning as it marked the day when Kim's grandfather, Kim Il-sung, established the Korean People's Army, KPA, in 1948, a crucial year in the history of Korea's division. Since 1948, there have been 2 official state organizations led by Koreans, each asserting to be the rightful leaders of the entire nation, explains Robinson. And honestly, nothing has really changed since then. And that's a wrap on today's quick exploration of the Korean Peninsula's history. If you enjoyed this brief journey through time, give us a thumbs up and make sure to subscribe to A Quick Note for more bite-sized insights into the world's most intriguing stories. Thanks for joining us, and until next time, stay curious.